Hello, Jed Gottlieb, Boston Herald, guest-listed guitar, this time with bass, and with Chuck Membrino of Eddie Japan. When you're writing a bass line, what's the most important thing to you? Like, what's key?
That's a great question. I think, I'm playing with Eddie Japan, right?
Yeah.
There's so many of us, 2 guitars, keyboard player, 2 singers, right? So there's a lot going on at any given moment.
Yeah.
So my approach is always to come up with bass parts that fit the song.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of an esoteric answer to your question.
Right, but yeah.
What I try to do is when we first work out a song, just play the root parts, right? So just play the chord changes, just to sort of keep everything rolling along. But then as parts develop, there's a natural sort of balance that happens where maybe the guitars are strumming and not doing intricate guitar work. And that's where I try to bolster the rhythm section in the song, right? To sort of put in these hooks that, or catchy melodic phrases that that I think stand out because there's, everything else seems to be sustaining and this sort of drives the song forward.
Yeah, that's really interesting though, that you just start though, you start from the ground up. So you start with the root note. So while you're rehearsing it, learning it, you don't add any embellishment. And you're just like, okay, I'm just the backbone here, nothing.
Right.
Then once you see sort of how the arrangement is coming out, you figure out where you can step in there and not sort of be, not overpower another instrument, where there's space for you to breathe and to move around.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like we have one song where the guitars are just holding on chords, and it gives me the opportunity to sort of do this, like. Sort of put those fills in there that really stand out.
Did you start on bass?
No, I actually started on saxophone.
Oh, nice.
Way back. So it was like saxophone in grade school and middle school and through high school. And in high school, I started to pick up, formed my first band with 4 other people, and no one had bass or anything.
Right.
So I was lucky enough that my parents bought me my first bass, and from then I just really studied it and played it as much as I could.
Yeah. What's your first tip? So like, I only play the root notes. That's just like what I do. But like, I don't even know, like, I just play guitar. And so I'm like, well, I can play bass. I can play lousy bass, but I can do it. But I don't know like where I should go, the first sort of steps forward. What's your suggestion for people that want to, they know, they can strum all their chords, but now they want to actually do something with the bass. With the bass?
Well, I think a good starting point is start to introduce fifths.
Okay.
Right? So I don't know how schooled you are in guitar playing, but so like if you're playing D, right? So the fifth is basically G.
This G? No, that's an octave. Okay.
Yep. So what you can do is, instead of just playing, which can be a cool bass part all on its own, you can sort of begin to alternate. You can do sort of a. Now I know this sounds really rudimentary.
Yeah, but you start to fill out the sound a little.
You start to fill it out. You start to introduce some movement in there. And then it becomes a rhythm. So do you want to just sort of do what I would call country? Or you can do,
Nice. Yeah.
So you can start to break it up rhythmically as well.
Yeah. And that I think is more key on bass than any other instrument, because you play chords but that not predominantly. You know, you're working with these 4 strings, your lowest register instrument in almost any band, as long as you don't have a tuba or something.
Right.
Second line band. So you really need to be able to mess with rhythms, and little flourishes can add a lot.
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to.
No.
Remember, but yeah, they're all things that you can bring to the mix, right?
Yeah.
And sort of push, propel the song forward, or fill in spaces,
Yeah.
or make the guitarist work for their solos. That's one of the things I like to do in this band.
Nice.
Right? Whenever there's a solo, I begin to sort of, I don't want to say overplay, but I sort of like, pick it up a little bit so that they hear that, and it sort of gives them a lift and sort of pushes them a bit too.
Yeah, nice.
So
don't let them have it easy. Like, make them work for a living,
absolutely,
like everybody else in the band.
Totally. I may be standing behind them,
right?
But that's where the engine is.
Yeah, and a lot of times the drummer and the bassist, like, they should get together and just rehearse on their own.
Totally.
Like, they don't need to wait for the singer or the guitarist to come over. Like, that's how, because the guitars can be bad and messy and whatever, but if the bass and drummer are off, everything's shot to hell.
Yeah.
You guys got to be locked in.
It kind of falls apart. So while we were working on the song, I was, I had just seen Wrecking Crew. I had sort of revisited all those albums that she played on. So I wanted to come up with a part that I thought was kind of reflective of her style.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the song Albert, the main verse has got this descending line that's...